Is it a crime of passion? Or is she being framed an elaborate cover-up by corrupt cops who are trying to protect their own? The Karen Read retrial, or as I'm going to be calling it, season 2, has kicked off today. I will still be posting all my self-defense content, but I got way too many requests to cover this retrial and I gotta give the people what they want, so I will be doing updates on this. For anyone who wants to follow along but missed season 1, here's a quick recap. In the early morning hours of January 29th, 2022, Boston police officer John O'Keefe was found dead covered in snow on the front lawn of 34 Fairview Road. A few days later, John's girlfriend Karen Read was arrested for his murder. The prosecution painted a picture of jealousy, alcohol, rage, and a relationship on the rocks. They said the case is simple. Karen and John got in a fight that night, and in a drunken rage, she reversed her car into her boyfriend, hit him, and then left him for dead. And their evidence to support this? Multiple testimonies from witnesses at the scene that said that they heard her say some variation of, "I hit him." Taillight fragments from her car at the scene, and some scandalous texts and voicemails that do show that the relationship was in fact on the rocks. But Karen Read's defense team says this is not an accident. This isn't a crime of passion. This is actually a cover-up. That these people's stories just don't add up. And that John went into the house that night and never came out alive. And their evidence? A seriously flawed investigation, evidence that had been tampered with, inconsistent testimonies and timelines, phones that some of the witnesses destroyed the day before they received court orders to preserve those phones, a Google search from Jen McCabe at 2:30 a.m. for "How long to die in the cold?", a biased lead investigator who lied about his connections to these witnesses, sent vile texts to his friends and coworkers about the defendant, and has since been fired because of his actions from this case. They point to suspicions around the house. The fact that the inside of the house was never inspected, despite a dead body being found on the front lawn. A house that was sold conveniently right after the incident happened, but not before they tore up and redid the basement. But the house wasn't the only thing sold. Their German Shepherd that they had owned for 7 years was also rehomed. And lastly, the injuries to John's body are not consistent with being hit by a car. And the damage to the car, not consistent with hitting a human. But there were some interesting markings on John's arm. Markings consistent with those of a dog. With so many pieces of evidence missing or tampered with, we may never know the truth. But one thing is for sure. The Karen Read case is no ordinary murder trial. What do you think? A scorned lover? A tragic accident? A desperate cover-up? Or something else entirely?